5 million more enemies of the Reich had been murdered.
I'm just outside Glyndwr in southern Spain, and a little distance away is the grave of the man who never was.
I do not stand alone.
Hitler was probably quite surprised then when the Allies attacked Sicily.
The plan for the mass murder of every single Jew in Europe.
In 1943, a single dead man changed the course of World War II. The British didn't need bombs or bullets. They needed a body, a briefcase, and a perfectly crafted lie. This is the unbelievable true story of Operation Mincemeat, the plan that turned deception into victory. The high stakes of 1943. In 1943, the Allies faced a daunting challenge. They were preparing to invade southern Europe, but the question was where? The obvious choice, Sicily, was heavily defended. Everyone, including Hitler, expected the Allies to strike there. To succeed, they needed to deceive the Germans into thinking the invasion would happen elsewhere. What followed was one of the most brilliant acts of wartime, deception in history, Operation Mincemeat. This operation would involve turning a dead man into a secret agent and feeding false intelligence to the Nazis, all without a single shot fired. The spark of an unusual idea. The idea originated with Charles Cholmondeley, a quirky RAF officer known for his unorthodox thinking, and Ewen Montagu, a naval intelligence officer. They were inspired by a memo written by Rear Admiral John Godfrey, which mentioned a suggestion from his assistant, future James Bond, author Ian Fleming, about using a corpse to mislead the enemy. The concept was simple but macabre. Find a dead body, give it a false identity, plant fake invasion, documents on it, and let the Germans discover it. But the execution would be incredibly complex. The success of the plan depended entirely on whether the Germans believed the body was real and that the documents it carried were genuine, creating the perfect deception. The first challenge was finding the right body. The British needed someone who could convincingly pass as a drowned military officer. After weeks of searching, they found Glyndwr Michael, a homeless Welshman who had died after ingesting rat poison. His death was perfect for the plan. It left no visible injuries which could be consistent with drowning at sea. The team gave him a new identity, Major William Martin of the Royal Marines. Every detail of his life had to be meticulously crafted. They created a backstory complete with a fiancée named Pam, played by an MI5 clerk named Jean Leslie. A photograph of her was placed in his wallet along with love letters, receipts, a St. Christopher medal, and even a bank overdraft notice. These small, mundane details were crucial. They made Major Martin feel real. Planting the evidence. The most important part of the operation was the evidence Major Martin would carry. The British crafted 2 fake letters, one from Lieutenant General Archibald Nye to General Harold Alexander, and another personal note from Lord Mountbatten. These letters suggested the Allies planned to invade Greece and Sardinia, while Sicily would merely be a diversion. The goal was clear: convince the Germans that Sicily wasn't the real target. To make the ruse believable, the British needed the body to appear as if it had washed ashore. Naturally, they decided to release it near Huelva, Spain, a coastal area known for its strong German intelligence presence. Although Spain was officially neutral, Nazi agents operated there freely, especially through sympathetic Spanish officials. Operation Mincemeat takes flight. On April 19, 1943, the body of Major William Martin was placed inside a specially designed canister packed with dry ice. The canister was then loaded aboard the submarine HMS Seraph, commanded by Lieutenant Norman Jewell. After several days at sea, on April 30th, Jewell and his crew surfaced near the Spanish coast. Just before dawn, they gently pushed the body into the water. Attached to his wrist was a briefcase containing the forged documents. To make it look convincing, the British arranged for local newspapers to later report that the body of a drowned British officer had been discovered. Everything was in place. The fate of the deception now rested in enemy hands. Discovery on the Spanish coast. Later that morning, Spanish fishermen found the body floating off the coast of Huelva. They notified the authorities and the corpse was turned over to the Spanish Navy. As expected, the documents were recovered and immediately attracted attention. Spanish officials informed the British consul, who requested the briefcase be returned untouched. But British intelligence knew it wouldn't be. Germany had deep intelligence connections in Spain, and the Abwehr, the German military intelligence service, would almost certainly get access to the contents. The plan was working perfectly. The Germans take the bait. German intelligence agents in Spain secretly photographed and examined the documents before returning them to the British. To ensure the deception worked, British intelligence later tested the papers for signs of tampering. They found that the letters had indeed been opened and resealed, a sure sign the Germans had read them. Meanwhile, reports reached Berlin describing the discovery of Major William Martin and his supposedly top-secret documents. The information quickly made its way to Adolf Hitler, who was obsessed with the possibility of an Allied invasion of Greece. Despite some skepticism from his own generals, Hitler became convinced that the letters were genuine. He ordered reinforcements sent to Greece and Sardinia, diverting vital divisions away from Sicily, playing their part. The British, eager to reinforce the illusion, went to great lengths to make Major Martin seem authentic even after his death. They listed him as missing, presumed drowned in official records, and even published his name in the Times casualty list. A funeral was arranged in Huelva, complete with military honours. The Spanish, unaware of the deception, buried him as a hero. The grave of Major William Martin remains there to this day, a silent monument to one of the greatest wartime tricks ever pulled, the invasion of Sicily. On July 9th, 1943, the Allies launched Operation Husky, the real invasion of Sicily. Thanks to mincemeat, German defences were spread thin. Hitler had moved critical divisions away from Sicily to Greece and the Balkans, expecting an attack that never came. The invasion succeeded faster and with fewer casualties than expected. The deception had worked brilliantly. Even after the Allies took Sicily, the Germans clung to the belief that it was only a diversion. By the time they realized the truth, it was far too late. The aftermath and intelligence impact. The success of Operation Mincemeat had far-reaching consequences. It proved that deception could be as powerful as any weapon on the battlefield. The operation's methods, planting false intelligence, creating fake identities, and exploiting human psychology, became blueprints for future espionage tactics. The operation also deepened the relationship between British and American intelligence. The newly formed Office of Strategic Services, OSS, which later evolved into the CIA, studied mincemeat closely. It showed that the key to winning wars wasn't just superior firepower, but superior information control. For Ewen Montagu and his team, the operation became a legend within intelligence circles. Montagu later wrote The Man Who Never Was, a book detailing the mission, though certain classified elements remained secret for decades. The Man Who Never Was. In 1996, decades after the war, researchers identified the real identity of the man used in that operation, Glyndwr Michael. Far from the decorated officer the Germans believed him to be, he was an impoverished man whose death had unwittingly changed the course of history. Today, his grave in Huelva bears both names, Major William Martin, Royal Marines, and beneath it, Glyndwr Michael served as Major William Martin. It's a poignant reminder of how even the most ordinary life can play a role in extraordinary events. Why it worked. Operation Mincemeat succeeded because it exploited human psychology as much as military strategy. The Germans wanted to believe the documents were real. The plan's brilliance lay in its plausibility. The details were too ordinary, too mundane to be fake. The personal effects, love letters, theatre tickets, even the worn edges of the photograph made the story feel human. It convinced experienced intelligence officers that Major Martin was a real man, who had died tragically in the service of his country. This human touch turned the deception from clever trickery into psychological warfare. If you enjoyed uncovering this secret mission, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more incredible stories from history's hidden files.